Hello everyone, welcome back to HDcast episode 12. I am your host, Hector Delgado Jr. And today on HDcast, we're going to be talking about last night's Bulls documentary, The Last Dance, episodes 3 and 4. And last night's episode featured one of my favorite players of all time, Dennis Rodman, and featured one of my favorite teams of all time, the Detroit Bad Boys. Hello everyone, welcome back to HDcast episode 12. I am your host, Hector Delgado Jr. And today on HDcast, we're going to be talking about last night's Bulls documentary, The Last Dance, episodes 3 and 4. And last night's episode featured one of my favorite players of all time, Dennis Rodman, and featured one of my favorite teams of all time, the Detroit Bad Boys. First off, a little bit of background on the Pistons, if you didn't know already. They're the bridge between the Lakers-Celtics dynasty in the 80s and the Bulls dynasty in the 90s. And they won championships right in between, back-to-back in 89 and 90. They're led by Chicago native Isaiah Thomas, who, for the most part, had the biggest rivalry between Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Mainly because, like I said, he was a Chicago native, even being quoted saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, that you might be playing for Chicago, but I'm from Chicago, so I'll show you how we really play down there. Isaiah Thomas said that to Michael Jordan, and Michael did not like that. And they're also featured by Bill Laimbeer, who was their enforcer of the team pretty much, their center, who was this big white dude who would attack you in the paint as much as he could and act like he didn't do anything afterwards. They also featured Joe Dumars, who was an electric scorer and one of the best perimeter defenders of all time, and also introducing a young Dennis Rodman, who we'll get into a little bit later in the video. Detroit was pretty much hated by the entire NBA because of their physical style of play, which led to their name, the Bad Boys. Everyone hated the way they played because they played physical, they would foul you hard, and they would play fantastic defense on you, and they were just instigators and enforcers on the entire team. Personally, I loved that style of play. The first time I watched them was on a documentary, the Bad Boys documentary a few years back, and it was just crazy to see because it was nothing like it today. It was so fun to watch, so different, because if they did that in today's NBA, that team would be like completely fined and disassembled and like suspended and whatever. And that's what made them so interesting, because they're so tough, so physical, and just such a breath of fresh air compared to those Magic teams and Larry Bird teams. It was just so different, and Isaiah was even quoted saying that it was like they were ruining the party for them, coming in and just wrecking everything. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, we're talking about Dennis Rodman, one of my favorite players of all time. He was one of the greatest rebounders and defenders of all time. And he was one of my favorite players because just that. He was a fantastic role player, and if anyone who knows me, played basketball with me or whatever, you knew that I loved playing defense. I loved being a good role player and just making the right play, and that's exactly what Dennis did. He was really just an exceptional role player, but times 10. And because of his role player mentality and how he played, it ended up making him pretty underrated before the documentary. Now a lot of people see his importance and realize that maybe without Dennis, the Bulls probably wouldn't have three-peated again. But with that being said, the dude was a Hall of Famer, 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 7-time rebounding champ, 5-time NBA champ, 8-time All-Defensive Team, and a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And all that just being at 6'7", 210 pounds. I mean, he was a guy that could truly lock down positions 1 through 5. You could see him guarding Shaq on one night. When he was at the Pistons, you could see him guarding Jordan himself and matching up on point guards. He was just all around one of the best and most underrated players of all time, and that's why I loved him so much. Someone I really resonated with, and his play style was just so inspiring to watch. So I know it was a bit of a quicker video today, guys, but I do have a quick question for you guys, as always, that you guys can answer in the comments down below. So how do you guys think Dennis Rodman would fare today in the NBA? Do you guys think he would be an All-NBA, All-Star type player, a solid starter, a bench player, or not even in the league at all because of his lack of offensive talent? Or do you think he's somewhere in between? Personally, I think he'd be right in between a solid starter and an All-NBA, All-Defensive type player. Kind of like how Draymond is now. Draymond has won Defensive Player of the Year, has won a few All-Star, All-NBA teams, but right now he's not quite a megastar or superstar. So I think that's kind of right where Dennis Rodman would fit in. And also, he would be probably the toughest player in the league that nobody would mess with, because like just the way he plays was so physical, and he can change games the way he played. So that's what I think, guys. Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys liked the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Please share the video. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers, and if we do, there's a little something special in it for you guys. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.